So I'm looking at Reddit and I see this topic. I miss the fan. That is all. It's the classic Cutlass cockpit with the fan. Remember that? Remember that cockpit? Oh man, I do miss that ship. Let's see what people are saying. A lot of the usual jokes and wordplay. You must be a fanatic, that sort of thing. Yeah, some pretty cool ones. And then
Thumbs up, average Joes can play. This dirt poppycock. You can let them do that?
Thank you, Chuck Norris.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, Captain.
so secure space piracy. Crime and Punishment Part 2. Do I think that it should be possible? Yes. However, I think that it should be prohibitively expensive and difficult to do. I don't think that it should be something that anybody can just wade into and say, I'm just going to shoot down a bunch of haulers just to be a dick. No, I think that if a pirate's going out and going to pirate in high sec, obviously the objective of that should be something that promises a very sweet return. But at the same time, it should be something that requires a lot of work, a lot of setup, and a lot of skill to pull off. It's not something that should just be entry level or, I'm just going to undock from Grim Hex and blow somebody up. It should never be that. Now, I think that overall, we could sit here and we could talk about, we could do this thing with the distress transmissions and, heralds being able to block them, but not always, and yada, yada, yada. But we don't really know how that's all going to play out. And those are things that we're going to have to wait and see how they flesh out as the game develops. But I think that most people would be okay with at least some form of piracy kind of defined around that idea, even in high sec. The problem is there is that vocal minority, and we do have to talk about that. There are these people out there who, for some reason, despite the fact that open world PvP has always been part of Star Citizen's core design since day one, feel that anybody who would engage in that sort of activity is somehow mentally or emotionally defective. Now, I'm going to speak very frankly from my experience in playing video games, certainly online video games with tons of people over the years. I'm not going to mince words. I think that there's a lot of people out there who are willing to accept a certain amount of risk, and within the constraints I've described, I think they'd kind of be okay with that. Once again, something that would require tuning, that would require experimentation to kind of find the right mix. But there is that kind of extremely disproportionately vocal minority who since day one have kind of walked in and said, I've pledged X amount of dollars, now take all PvP out of the game, because they are there. And that's something to talk about, and it's something to worry about, because it can really dilute the game and ruin the game for a whole lot of players who maybe, even if they aren't diehard PvPers, are people who are not adverse to a certain amount of risk, who aren't adverse to having a little bit of a thrill pop up on them from time to time. Now, I don't think that piracy should be something easy, like, you just roll in with a Super Hornet, bam, 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 take all your shit, haha, and then boot out, especially in what is considered secure space, however that is defined and overall built out by CIG. I don't think that it should ever be that way, but if a player is willing to put together the work or the skill, I think they should be able to pull it off, though maybe they'll need a group to do it and some serious prep time. And the consequences probably will be quite severe, especially if they fail, and that should be a very real possibility for the pirate, especially if they're going into secure space. The possibility of failure has to be real. It has to be something immediate, and it has to be something that, I can do this, but there's a very real consequence to me doing this, and even if I pull it off, I might have to deal with something down the road that maybe dissuades me from taking on this activity. Now, in the end, is that going to be good enough? Well, probably for most people, yeah. But there are going to be those players where that's just not good enough, and they just, to them, it should be, I should be able to set a whole junction of jump points for quantum jumps, gates, all that, and I should just be able to hit autopilot and then go read while my ship autopilots from one point to the other. But that risk still should be there. There should still be a relative amount of risk, whether it's NPC pirates or even possibly player pirates, depending on where you are. Now, I still think it should be very difficult for a player pirate to pull something like that off, but I don't think it should be beyond the realm of possibility. I just think it should be beyond the realm of something you can easily achieve at a nickel and dime cost. Like, I don't think someone should be able to go and take an Aurora, load it up with explosives, and then just kind of kamikaze it into someone's hauler and be like, haha, ruined your day. No. But if there's a dedicated group of pirates who are out there and are looking for that fat, rich hauler hauling a big load of gold bricks, and they're going to try and take that hauler, and they've got a whole plan, they've got a whole crew, they've got a whole setup, they've gone out and perhaps bought some very expensive tech gear that allows them to evade the UE or block distress transmissions for whatever amount of time they need to pull this off. Should they be able to pull that off if they've basically got the stones, the will, and the means to do it? Yeah, I think it should be, and I want to say this, you know, I want to put emphasis on this word, possible, but not guaranteed. I think that if CIG hits a good balance with things, there's going to be enough targets out there for pirates that going out there and hunting that player in, you know, so-called high security space is going to be just maybe not worth it at all. There might be, you know, enough going on in their own space that they don't have to be bothered with it. Why take all those risks and go to all that effort when much closer to home, you know, I can already hunt down something here and still get paid? I think if CIG hits a fair balance with that, that would eliminate most of the problems, and the occurrences would be fairly rare of piracy in so-called high security space. But at the same time, I still think that people should have a reason to, you know, keep their heads on a swivel. Anyways, that's the show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.